I wrote that one. Sure.
Welcome back to another edition of Ego on Break. I'm your host, Dynamite J. Andrews. This is the Mississippi Madman, and that up there is an airplane. So, and or it could be the Hurricane. I don't know. It may be Shane Helms. But yes, so we're going to talk wrestling. Going to talk a little bit of Ring of Honor. We're going to talk some Danhausen. Definitely going to talk some Danhausen. Both of us have watched some. Madman's watched more than me because thankfully I have C-Spire service, and
they're trash.
Yeah, it's worse than dial-up. So congrats, C-Spire. But that's a video for another day, and I'll complain about that later. But but yes, so let's talk about Danhausen.
Okay.
What do you think makes Danhausen special?
That he realized being a wrestler wasn't getting it done, so he basically flipped the script and went with stuff he was interested in, and it added it to wrestling.
So he went outside the box.
Way outside the box. I don't even think there is a box. Yeah.
Who are others that you know that went outside the box and it worked?
As good as his?
Or just in general?
I'll give you an example, and I'm not going to say what he did I liked all the way around. I thought there was an easy way for him to turn heel with it. But Eugene
was different. That was outside the box.
As I always thought, if he would have been like, hey, I was faking being this way the whole time, you're going to come off as the biggest heel ever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then of course, they didn't do that. But I always thought that was a character that, I'm not sure, like I said, I never agreed with it, but I didn't disagree with it because he never really did it where it looked horrible.
Right.
But if he would have went heel and just said, look, I'm not this way. I've been faking it. And he was Eric Bischoff's nephew, so
yeah.
Hell, I would have been heel as hell.
Yeah, I was being punished. You know.
They tell me the only way I could get on TV is if I did this.
I didn't think about Eugene, but Eugene's a perfect example of a guy that done a different. The first guy that popped in my head was Orange Cassidy.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, he took the stereotypical, oh, let's go try to win a match. And he goes, well, I'm going to try to win, but I want to do it with the bare minimum effort. I don't want to give 110%. I'll give you about a 1.5%. You know, just enough to be awake.
In fact, I watched one of their matches. It was him and Orange Cassidy. And it is what you would expect it to be. It's entertaining,
but not a wrestling match.
It turned into one. It really did. It really, about the last 5 minutes of the match, and there was a run-in. Like right as it turned into like a real wrestling match, there was a run-in. So
I like Danhausen being very nice and very evil.
Mm-hmm.
His master plan of punch him in the groin and
pin him. Corey from AEW, punch Corey from AEW in the groin.
Corey,
That's what he told Warhorse, and Warhorse didn't do it, so he didn't win.
Yeah, Warhorse. When you face Cody, if you would have just listened to Danhausen,
no Corey.
Oh, punch Corey in the groin. I'm telling you, he ripped, he literally just watched Coneheads and go, you know what, I'm taking that idea. It's great.
I don't know where he got it from. There's a couple of areas you can kind of pick it out.
I mean, that's all I see is Coneheads it's like I'm pretending to be human. That's what.
Well, you know, I sent you an interview where he does half the interview as Danhausen, the other half he does it himself. So he kind of went into it a little bit as where he got the ideas.
Yeah, because he was like Donovan Danhausen or something.
But he was just a wrestler.
Yeah, no paint, no cape. Yeah. I guess he was from Earth.
It quit being fun, and he's like, I want to do something to make this fun because I'm basically, and me and you, I know we both got to that.
Yeah. I can tell you that doing what he's doing is way more work than you think it is. He's probably outworking every guy that goes out there and has a chop battle and let's trade forearm punches or whatever.
It is hard to go on a show and be like, there's 9 people in the back that want to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, and you're like, well,
but somebody's got to be the Hurricane.
I'm going to be 2020's Colt Cabana,
Yeah.
With the comedic stuff.
Think about other guys who may have done. So, I think the Goldust character was definitely.
That was what they call it, androgynous.
Yeah, but
the word I can't pronounce right
now. He
was
was non-binary.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, essentially that's what he was. He's like, I'm not man or woman. He's like, I'm just a statue come to life.
He had hot Melina. That's all I can say.
She was hot. And then she had Luna.
Yeah.
And Luna was definitely hot.
Mm.
Yeah. I just asked Gangrel. He'll tell you she's hot.
That was his wife. I hope so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, like I think Danhausen, like, you know, he's just picking up on a trend of guys that, you know, just thought outside the box.
And
I mean,
he was talking about, like, in that interview, like how he wasn't the promo guy. Like, he barely ever cut promos,
Yeah.
and now that's all he does down there.
Yep. You know, on our level of, you know, just guys we've associated with, you know, like, you know, Jim Sterling took. There's a lot of guys that ripped off, like you were saying, everybody wants to be Stone Cold. There's a lot of guys that ripped off a WWE wrestler, which is what Stardust did. Except instead of trying to be Stardust, he made Stardust his own thing, and it got him noticed, you know. So that's definitely, I mean, you know, what does Danhausen, Goldust, Orange Cassidy, Jim Sterling, and Eugene have in common?
Yeah.
They all done something different, you know.
Okay.
I think you could put like MJF in that as well, because in a time when everybody wanted to be the cool heel,
Yeah,
he became a heel.
He just was a butthole.
You know, he's like, I'm just gonna make you hate me, and because you don't hate anybody else, you're gonna like me.
Yep.
You know, speaking of MJF, I caught a little bit of Jericho's promo about MJF on like Dynamite or something this morning. My kids were watching it as they was getting ready for school,
I haven't heard
and
it.
he kept calling MJF. He was like, you know, I brung, you know, my jerk off friend into the inner circle, my jerk off friend and my jerk off friend. I was like, oh, my jerk off friend MJF. That's pretty clever. So I thought that was,
Wow,
I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah.
It, and I was like, wait a minute.
So I thought that was pretty cool, like my jerk off friend. So
Wow.
so like he never, like, you know, hated, like, you know, but he's just like, and he said he said like he's changing it from being a mark to being a max, because every time he would do something in the ring, he would go back to the back and look on Twitter to see the reaction it got. He was like, you were being a mark. He's like, no, you were being a max. From now on, that's called being a max.
Wow.
But yeah, just, you know, outside the box thinking, man. Like, you know, it's harder work, it's a bigger gamble, but if it pays off way more than, you know. I mean, look at like Marko Stunt. I mean, think about him. Like, you know, one, he was a wrestler from Mississippi. That's already a knock against him right there. Then he was like, you know, 3.5 foot tall and weighed like 19 pounds. You know, his size were definitely against him, you know. But he went out and just capitalized on being small.
I mean, Mississippi, he was wrestling girls.
Yeah, like guys wouldn't even work him. And if you did work him, you got made fun of.
Ask Fury.
Yeah. Ray Fury worked him, you know. Monty Warbucks worked him, man. You know, Monty Warbucks, I thought, killed him with a cannonball.
I don't know who started that chant, but yeah.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. But, like, you know, he took a chance, done something different, instead of just, you know, being the, you know, the guy that just wrestled girls, or just the guy that was a manager, or, you know, the comedy thing. Like, he went out and, you know, he got him a little cool little move and, you know, took some chances and broke his leg. And
Next thing you know, he's in AEW doing a battle royal.
There you go. I mean, you know, I mean, to a small, you know, you can look at like Luchasaurus. I mean, here's a guy claiming to be a dinosaur, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, if ECW was still on Sci-Fi, he'd be on there for sure.
So I didn't know if he was going to be able to use that gimmick, because, you know, that was his gimmick in Lucha Underground.
I think he had it first.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how it worked. I really
Not
didn't.
100%. No, maybe he didn't, because
I don't know.
it was that whole, like, group built around the dragons or whatever.
The wizards or dragons.
Yeah,
or
so
something.
maybe it wasn't, but I guess, you know, if you tweak something enough, it's okay. So.
And I'd read where they're possibly coming back. So,
No, they're not coming back.
what are they doing?
It's going to be Aztec Underground. And basically, what I'm reading is, all right, the people who took over Selena's group in MLW,
Yeah.
so El Jefe or whoever has bought her out, is basically going to start Aztec Underground.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically going to be filmed in the same building where
Oh,
Lucha Underground was.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to look like Lucha Underground. It's going to be Lucha-based stuff, but time will only tell whether they put in the effort to... You know, Lucha Underground got over not for the wrestling, but for you know, the vignettes and, you know, the backstage
That's
stuff
what
they
I
were
liked
doing.
about
So,
it.
but at the same time, that's also why there is no more Lucha Underground, is because that stuff costs so much to do.
Yeah, I mean, they had, Rodriguez was doing the damn, and he's known for movies.
Yeah.
You know,
So I mean, only time will tell. But that's where it's the rumor is because it's going to be.
Is that Luke Hawk's thing? Have you seen what Luke Hawk's is doing? You need to look on his Facebook page.
I hadn't.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. So go to Luke Hawk's Facebook page and you'll see what I'm talking about. You can't miss it. I'm not sure what the hell it is, but it's got me interested. But just go to Luke Hawk's Wrestling
Okay.
Facebook page.
Had to check that out.
Because there's pictures and it kind of looks like the Lucha Underground
Well,
building.
that probably is then. That's probably what it is.
I'm not sure. So
because
don't quote me on that.
I know Buku Dao is in MLW now.
Yeah,
so I
know
mean,
that too.
You know, so there is at least that connection.
But it looks like an old, rundown, rusty ass building.
I'd see it then.
So maybe that's it. I don't
I'm
know.
sure.
But like I said, go to Luke Hawk's Facebook page because he is.
It's either
pushing.
that or Luke's bringing back
I don't know.
the MTV thing, Wrestling Society X.
Hey,
One or the
whatever.
other.
It just
So-
looked like he was trying to do something different. So
I wonder if you brought back like Wrestling Society Z, would it work? But well, we're older than X. Further down the chain of
Wow.
command. Ring of Honor, O'Shea Edwards. I checked out his latest match against Sledge.
you saw it. I never. Did see
They had a
it.
time limit draw on the first
okay.
match. It was 10 minutes. So they brought the match back, gave them 15 minutes, and time limit draw again. I dig what they're doing because this match was almost like even playing field. If you did it, I done it.
I got you.
And I'm gonna go out and guess that maybe they're gonna do the Rockabilly Road Dog thing where they wrestled a bunch and then finally said, look, you know, I think we would do better at this together than, you know, so maybe that's where they're building it.
WWE did that with Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah.
Too.
But at the same time, they're mentioning a lot about Shane Taylor Promotions. We know O'Shea's been affiliated with them. They're mentioning that on commentary where, like, you know, Shane Taylor's just checking this guy out. You know, he's trying to get on Shane Taylor's radar.
Okay.
So they're playing with that as well. And I thought, you know, if they didn't go with the tag thing, the Sledge guy would make a great addition to, like, Silas Young and Josh Woods.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll tell you, the show this week was Danhausen versus Brian Johnson.
very good, very evil.
Very. But this match I enjoyed. Unlike the pay-per-view, and I didn't
Yeah.
throw nothing at my TV.
I love the
I
fact
didn't want to turn it
that
off.
the more we get into Dan, you know, when we first got introduced to Danhausen, we're like, oh, this guy's garbage. He's ruining Ring of Honor, blah, blah, blah.
He didn't wrestle at that point. If you saw the first match, I think a lot of people would agree with you. It was not a good match.
And if that, especially if that's the first time you ever saw him.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't a good match. But this match was really good, and I'd never seen the guy wrestle without the face paint or anything else. I didn't know nothing about
Yeah.
the guy. But when I watched this match, it was 360 compared to what he did before.
Yeah. So we
And-
both became big fans of Danhausen, the character, for
'cause
sure.
I'd started watching a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and I was like, well, he is entertaining. I said, well, I'm going to give this next match a logical chance. And I was like, wow, this guy can really fucking wrestle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Brian Johnson isn't a bad worker himself.
I love Brian Johnson.
He just yells too damn much for my
He's got a
opinion.
mouth.
But it was cool because he went over with a back kick low blow.
Mm-hmm.
And he hit that flip weird.
Yeah, I hate that finish, though.
It don't.
Please give him
This
a good
one
finish.
looked better because the way Danhausen
He
took
actually
it.
took it.
So it looked good. But on the way out, Jay Briscoe was calling commentary, and he kept yelling something up at not Jay, but Mark Briscoe was up there, and he goes, "That's not something you want to do, boy. That's not something you want to do, boy. That's not something you want to do, boy. And you better just turn around, keep walking, boy." And I'm like, wow, that could be a cute little feud.
Yeah, I'm a big Brian Johnson fan, so.
But yeah, Danhausen didn't win, so he didn't get to use his teeth or his towel. But I mean, as far as the match went, awesome match.
I watched the week-to-week episode that's on YouTube, and so they basically is like, remember like WWF used to have like the little Saturday morning wrap-up show,
Yeah.
where they would just kind of tell you what happened. So that's essentially what the week-to-week is.
You would get like 2 matches if you were lucky.
Yep. And so they kind of gave you a recap of what happened. But they did a backstage interview with Danhausen. He's laying on the floor and he's, oh, Danhausen, oh, and so basically goes, Brian Johnstone kicked me in the groin.
Yeah, because he's laying on the side of the ring. He's like, oh, my groin, oh, my groin. And I was like,
and Danhausen punches in the groin. You kick in the groin. Very evil, very evil. So,
but the match was good. So I do recommend it. The last match was LSG and Eli Isom.
Uh-oh.
No. I'm not going to say it's a bad match. It was a long match.
This is the main event.
But it was long, and it was just...
Too long.
Like, cut 5 minutes off and give me a promo, I'd have been happy.
Yeah.
That was just it. I mean, it wasn't bad by any means. It was
Who
just
won?
long Eli's.
Ah, good. Nice.
I think they're fixing to push him pretty hard.
They should.
He's a good worker.
I mean, if they don't push him, at least build him. You know what I mean? Like,
him and LSG had a very good match. Very good, very evil. And,
thank you, Danhausen.
but I mean, it was good. Sounds weird, but I'd have flipped it. I would have had the other match as the main event because it was shorter. I think that.
And there was a little bit there, you know, like they had a backstory.
No, that's what I'm saying. And there was a backstory. But my reasoning is, to me, have the longer match at the start and then the shorter match at the end. Because they're getting to where they say, well, if you can't see all of it here, go to Ring of Honor or whatever their pay-for thing is. And I'm like, look, don't screw the people that are watching here on Fight. That's not right. You know, if you're going to have a short match, you just give them a winner. Because I used to hate, and I know you probably remember this, but WCW used to do TV time remaining, and there would be times you're in the middle of the match, and they're pulled back, and they just, and off it goes. You know, like, why is there a Pepsi Cola commercial now? Like, you know.
And also, you would get sometimes where that match would end, and there'd be like, okay, there's 2 minutes left. We've got this next match, and it'd be like jobber number 1 versus jobber number 2.
Yeah.
To make you think like, you know, they didn't plan for it to end.
And that's it. I mean, these are recorded, edited shows. We know they're recorded, so don't screw us.
Right.
That's not right. I will say this too. The show before was the Gauntlet Pure Title.
Okay.
I don't have all the names in front of me, but I can tell you who it come down to was oh God, can I? It was Yehi and
oh, nice.
The Asian guy. What's his name? Yada.
Yeah, Wheeler Yuta.
Yuta. That's it. Thank you. I wasn't joking around. I really couldn't remember his last name.
Yuta and Yehi, I'm telling you, there's something there.
Yehi, they were the final ones in the Gauntlet.
The Yehis.
And Yehi won. I mean, it was very good. Then he gets interviewed by the girl in the back, and she's like, that was a great interview, but I was really kind of scared.
Yehi's pretty intense.
But he was talking about the last time he had fought was against Jax Draper, and he punched him in the face to go into the finish.
Yeah.
And he goes, but he punched me in the face. He goes, but he's allowed one. But he punched me in the face, you know. And I saw, it's like, I could kind of get to a little bit of intimidation. But
that's pretty cool.
He did win that, and that was really cool. And they did the Mexico versus, what was it?
Not Mexico, Mexi Squad.
Mexi Squad. I don't want to call him Mexico. Anyway,
because WWE
I'm so
branded it in your
bad with
brain.
names, man. I'm so bad with names, but they did them against the Shane Taylor Promotions. It was good, but the Mexi Squad, they're clearly fixing to break up.
I said they were teasing it on the stuff I watched.
They're clearly fixing to break up.
So very good, very evil.
Very good, very evil. So.
I wonder if Danhausen would get mad if we use "very good, very evil" as the title of this.
Maybe. I mean, we're talking about him. We ain't saying nothing negative. Not this time.
I'm either going to do that or do what does Danhausen.
Love that Danhausen.
Yeah. What does Danhausen, Jim Sterling, and Eugene have in common? That's what
yes.
So I'm going to try to clickbait a little bit. So if you're watching this and you enjoy the title being clickbaitish, give us a thumbs up.
Hey, but I will say this: go to Danhausen's, because I love that Danhausen YouTube.
He has a ton of
subscribe, man. He puts stuff up like all the time. So
he has a talk show. He has a cooking show. He has a result show. Yeah, he's got a ton of stuff.
I mean, the guy's entertaining, and I'll put him over for that. I would love to have him on Warhorse.
Yep.
You know,
if you
Dan Horson.
Yeah. Warhausen. That's
No,
they have
it's
a comic.
Dan horsing around.
Oh, so they have a comic,
Ah,
and it's
gotcha.
Warhausen.
Ah, gotcha.
And
Yeah.
yes, I did just go buy it. So, so I know Warhorse is going to make his way back to Mississippi here in the very near future.
Sweet.
So I figure I'll get him to sign it, and maybe Danhausen can make his way down to Mississippi as well.
That'd be nice.
Because as
Have we ever had a real Ring of Honor representative while they've been there? I know we've had them after.
I mean, closest would be like Michael Elgin, Jeff Cobb.
Cobb.
Yeah. But if we get Danhausen, that'd be cool because he says he's a free agent housing. So that means he can go and take over the world.
It's a free housing.
Yeah, a free housing. That might be not a free loader, but a free housing. But yeah, so until next time, watch wrestling, watch Danhausen. Very good, very evil.
Watch wrestling.
Later.